Every town has a legend, or some kind of infamous myth. It may not be based on some meme or creepypasta, but they are everywhere, like Bloody Mary, the Bell Witch, or Jersey Devil. They might be a story of some terrifying creature, an old haunted house, or in this case, a game. It's called the Blind Ghost Trail. No one really knows for sure who started the game, and it is a game only known within my small town. Though regardless of who tells or plays the game, it always follows the same direction, and most importantly, the origin. Just like those places, as a kid you would hear stories about a witch's house, to which you should never knock, or the gravestone you should never pass without leaving a flower. Here in my town, there is a locked off pathway which hosts the remains to what is like an old shack, warded off from the outside world, like a wooden old corridor. The wood is rotted and reeks of damp, and no light is said to pass through until the very end. Everyone knew better than to take on a dare and enter the Blind Ghost Trail, even if there were the more ignorant children who may have stepped inside. Fortunately, I'm not one of them, but you will find the other people, the ones who I would call the idiots, like my brother Ethan, who would tend to hang around the entrance from time to time. Myself, I'm only a teenager, but that didn't leave me immune to the peer pressure that was brought upon myself and my friends. Summer had ended, and it felt as if we were receiving an early winter. It was bitter, cold and sharp. Well, we were only days away from Halloween. I was going about my own business at home. As I passed Ethan's room, I could hear him talking on the phone, and I heard him mention the Blind Ghost Trail. Dude, I know already. Blind Man's Trail? Yeah, sure man, yeah. I know everyone's gonna be there. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I was thinking of bringing my little brother. He pauses, and I notice he turns to the doorway. He must have heard me. I quickly scurry across the hallway and back into my room. Once I get in there, I switch off the light and throw myself into the bed, faking to be asleep. Only a moment after, I hear the floorboard outside my door creak, and feel his shadow loom over my bed after he's pressed open the door to my room. I knew he was waiting to see if I was awake. I decided to give in, and I sat up to face him, to which case he parked himself on my bed and sighed. He began to explain. He and his friends were planning on going to Blind Ghost Trail. Of all nights, on Halloween. He questioned me, asking if I knew what the game was or the story behind it. I explained to him I've only heard a few things, but I never really knew where it came from. I always just thought of it as one of those creepy places which people created their own ideas about to scare one another. They even proved it to be much more than that. He went on to explain to me. It all began with a creepy old man. He went by the name of Colin. He was said to have been a tall and very hunched man, and was told to have never really spoke to anybody or engaged with a single person in the town. And despite being the strange, quiet and antisocial person he already was, his behaviour, it slowly grew worse. It was said that he would close his eyes when people would try and speak to him. Otherwise he would simply run in the other direction. As time went by, his behaviour deteriorated. He started wearing a blindfold, using a walking stick to navigate himself, and would chant under his breath. The scary thing is though, those who did meet his gaze were said to vanish by nightfall. As time went by, he continued to grow worse, supposedly blaming himself for these disappearances. He was said to have continued walking in his blindfold, whispering and chanting to himself, until no one had seen him for some time. This old, raggedy wooden, four-walled corridor appeared between two derelict buildings near to where he originally lived, just on the outskirts of town. It was said that at the same time which he disappeared, that this old trail set up, and it was rumoured that this is where he lay. No one heard from him since that place was built up, and it wasn't until some time after a bunch of kids decided to try their luck on the door. Supposedly they knocked and the door opened, only they were never able to tell what they saw, as the following morning their parents found them in their beds, having ripped out their eyes with their own hands, the fingers still bloodied and wet. That was some time ago now, and since nobody has seen or heard of Colin. And tomorrow, I'm planning to take you to Blind Ghost Trail. Hey horror fans, let me know what you thought of this terrifying tale, and please tell me what urban legends and fables give you the creeps. I know I have many I'd like to share. So be sure to subscribe to Night Terror Films for part 2, and for upcoming projects. Please share our videos. Your support has helped us reach over 100 subscribers over the time, so a big thanks to all of our fans. And from the darkness of my black heart, I pledge you all sweet nightmares.